on over to the Blaze. Biden now admits his administration is negotiating payments to illegal immigrant families that were separated at the border. That are now being flown into Westchester, New York, most of them. After several days of confusion and conflicting messages, President Joe Biden now admits that his administration is, in fact, negotiating. They're negotiating. That means that somebody is making counteroffers, and the United States government is actually listening and accommodating. Negotiating payments of families of illegal immigrants, non-citizens who are trying to break into the country, who were separated at the border under previous administrations. The news broke last week that Biden administration was contemplating a settlement that would pay around $450,000 per person to immigrant families that were split up at the border. Can you imagine working your whole life to try to want to have to buy that house, to build that house, to want that plot of land, and all of a sudden some illiterate migrant family that they're probably not even related to each other are given, among all of them, millions of dollars, and they snatch up a house that you've been waiting for? Families that were split up at the border as a result of Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy on illegal immigration, although families were also separated at the border under Bush and Obama administrations. It is not clear whether the contemplated settlements would encompass those families as well. What does it matter? What does it matter? Now, think about how fucked up this premise is. Think about the premise itself. You have tens, hundreds of thousands of unknown people, illegal aliens, with unverifiable relations to the children that they are illegally trafficking over the southern sovereign border of a sovereign nation. The illegality and the urgency of that reality alone is a foregone conclusion. The fact that this is an invasion, that these people, hundreds of thousands at a time, are doing everything in their power to avoid the United States borders and customs. They're trying to avoid ports of entry. They're trying to sneak in and disappear into the interior of the country, where they know that Democrat Party apparatchiks are going to be waiting for them to help them further disappear and root themselves into communities that once had an identity before they even came, that are now gone. No assimilation. Replacement. Of course, that is a bad word to say, even though they're openly telling you that's what they're aiming for. So the urgency of that situation alone, that we have that kind of activity at the border, is a foregone conclusion. Instead, our default position right now is to apologize to the felons who had to suffer the indignity of being stopped, detained, and separated from the most vulnerable members of their travel group until we, the host nation, with zero self-respect, can find out who's who. We have to apologize for the indignity of stopping and separating people at the border? We have to apologize? Because we want to know who's who and whether or not these children who are already being used as leverage in an illegal immigrant scheme are actually their children. It's unbelievable, but that's the default position now. And if they are their children, it barely makes it the situation any better, because the trek alone is child endangerment. The most we can ever offer, that I would ever offer these people, is a one-way ticket back to Mexico on a Greyhound bus, and even that is too much. So here's what I'll give you. You want to see a nation that takes itself seriously? Here's a 1-minute 45-second clip, I believe, of a defense minister or somebody from Hungary, the nation Hungary. And this is a country that respects itself. This is how you deal with smarmy, infantile activist journalists on things like migration. All right? Now, even though Hungary is also under heavy attack by globalist forces, I want you to listen to just this cool, calm, collected logic. Here, this was on, I believe, Al Jazeera, so it's a rag, but listen.
Basically given up letting people into Hungary, isn't that right? We do not allow any illegal migrants to the territory of the country.
What about refugees?
We have sealed off the green border.
Well, there are refugees. They're already trying to put his stupid smarmy snout in there, and I'm glad that he hits a brick wall at every turn.
So the only way you can enter the territory of the country is a legal way. So go there to the border crossing point, show your travel documentation, and you can come in.
What about if you're a refugee?
But how can you come? How can you be a refugee if you are surrounded by peaceful countries?
Well, sometimes countries volunteer to let refugees in.
What do you mean?
They take refugees as part of resettlement programs.
Yeah, but my question...
You're not taking anyone in. You're not letting anyone in.
No, we don't want to take part in that. I can tell you something. Those people who arrived to Hungary, those 400,000 about which we spoke in 2015, when it was in the height.
And they were coming through country to country, yes.
They came through at least 5 peaceful countries.
Yeah.
So my question is, whether anyone could show me, can't because I have looked at it, anyone could show me any point in international regulations which would say that you have a right to wake up in the morning, pick a country where you would like to live in, and in order to get there, violate series of borders. It's not a human right. The human right is that you are in trouble, you are forced to leave your home, you go to the first safe place where you're gonna be taken care of. But it's not written anywhere that you are allowed to violate border between 2 peaceful countries because you want to get through. No, those people who came to us came through Turkey, Greece, Macedonia, sometimes Bulgaria, Serbia, Croatia, 5, 6 safe countries. My question is, how can you be a refugee after you violate borders between 5 safe countries?
You can't, you smarmy bastard. You can't. And there you have, and that is the clean, calm logic of a nation that respects itself. And we don't. They